So, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us this beautiful Sunday here in Calgary. It's with my heart full of joy and peace. I'm here with you and welcome you to join us for our public meeting. Hopefully, God may with us. Jesus bless us. To share our knowledge, to share some reflections about Jesus' gospel today with you. Thank you very much for joining me today. And before we start, I would like just to send this remind about our AGM that will happen on May 30th. Actually, it's not an extra meeting, but our AGM for this year, for 2021. We are gonna be together after the public meeting, 12 p.m., to talk about, among all the topics that we're gonna bring up, we are gonna discuss our update on FSS operation, approval of 2020 financial results, and the election of our board executive officer positions, such as president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. We kindly invite all of you to join us on May 3rd to help us to build it up, our future. So thank you very much, and hopefully we can see all you there on May 30th. So, okay, thank you, Carol. Thank you, Luis, for joining us, and everybody that will be joining us soon. So let's start with our harmonization text from the book Living Spring, Francisco Cândido Xavier, by the Spirit Emmanuel. And the text that we would like to bring to our initial reflections today is the text Slowly but Surely, item 62. So our outer man may be wasting away, but our inner man is being renewed day by day. Paul, chapter 2, Epistle to Corinthians, verse 4:16. Observe the line of sequence and gradation that prevails in the smallest areas of nature. Nothing happens all at once, and there is no privilege anywhere on the stage of the divine law. The ear is filled with corn, kernel by kernel. The tree grows millimeter by millimeter. The forest begins with insignificant seeds. The edifice is raised brick by brick. The piece of cloth is woven thread by thread. The most famous pages were written letter by letter. The wealthiest city is built inch by inch. The greatest fortunes of gold and precious stones were extracted from the soil piece by piece. And the longest highway is paved meter by meter. So the great river that empties into the sea is a coming together of many streams. Do not give up on your wonderful dream of knowledge and accomplishment in the higher realms of the mind and sentiments, but remember your small daily tasks. Everywhere, life is a process of renewal, and according to Paul's sublime words, even as the flesh wastes away, the imperishable individuality is incessantly renewed. Nonetheless, so that we may not change ourselves in the opposite direction to the one expected by the Most High, it is essential that we constantly watch ourselves and persevere in our efforts of self-improvement and the activity that helps and ennobles us. If some divine ideal inhabits your mind, do not forget your small daily course, so that it may become a reality when the time is right. Is there a favorable occasion for its accomplishment? Then act sensibly with your soul focused on your goals. Are there troubles and struggles, thorns and stones on your pathway? Press on, even so. Time, that implacable dominator of civilizations and humankind, marches on at the rate of only 60 minutes per hour, but it never stops. Let us remember the lesson and go forward with the best that we are, slowly but surely. So let's pray. Our Master Jesus, may your light involve all of us right now, bringing us the inspiration to reflect upon your gospel, to help us to make more efforts towards our patience, towards all the virtues that we are invited to enhance. Master Jesus, let us reflect about the time, about the God's time that takes a while, that gradually we are going to reach our goals as immortal spirits. Help us to strengthen our faith and our hope in ourselves firstly, and in the humankind, starting with our neighbors, to make sure that we will be the pure spirits as you are. But help us with our smallest tasks of each day. And slowly but steady, we will be building, we will be enhancing our virtues day by day. Help us to open our hearts and our minds for the reflections today. Thank you very much. So be it. All right. So, thank you once again, everybody, for being here today. And today we are at our house, FSS, and it's I'm so happy to be here, surround this environment where we all shared so much happy moments, and with this hope in our hearts that this time we'll be back again, and we are going to be here together reflecting about Jesus' teachings. It's a great moment right now to be here, but we have in our hearts that hope and the patience that this day will come soon. Okay, so Before we get started, I just would like to invite everybody to participate with comments, or if you have any questions, please feel free to post on in YouTube or Facebook. I'm here watching very close all your comments, and if you want to ask anything, just posting there, and I'll do my best to answer and all your questions and comments. Thank you very much in advance. So today we are going to talk about patience and efforts, and we are going to reflect upon which efforts are necessary to enhance my patience. So, as Arthur Valadares says in his lecture about patience and serenity, patience is the foundation of all the virtues. In order to enhance or develop our virtues, all the virtues that we are invited in this existence to develop, we need patience. Because virtues are not developed overnight, needs time, needs effort, needs patience. Day by day, like Emmanuel says in his text, slowly but surely we'll get there, but demands some efforts from us. In Luke chapter 19, Jesus reminds us about these efforts, about this so important virtue that is patience. And he says, stand firm and you will win life. Stand firm and you will win life. Some translations from the Bible in Portuguese, we are going to find the word patience instead, stand firm. With your patience, you will win your life. Or perseverance, persevere, and you will win life. But what is win life? Maybe it's this life, or my life right now as an individual, Sonia, or it's my life as immortal spirit. As Paul reminds us in the beginning of this text, the outer man will go away for the inner man, but the inner man will renew day by day. So the inner man, which is our soul, which is our essence, which is us as immortal spirits, will be renewed day by day, slowly, gradually building, developing, enhance the seeds of virtues that we bring in our life, in our hearts. When Jesus says, "Will win your life," he always he also reminds us in another passage, saying, "What is if it's worthy for us to win the world but lose our life?" So it's a very serious advice for us to be more aware about our life here as a process of evolution, of a process of learning to be better, to build it up, the love inside us, this main virtue that we are invited to build day by day with patience, with effort. In the chapter 17 of the Gospel of Spiritist, Kardec reminds us in the text, "Be perfect," that the true Spiritist can be recognized by their moral transformation and by the efforts they employ in order to dominate their bad instincts. invited us, so Kardec is inviting us to comply with two important laws, divine laws. The law of work, when we make efforts, when we work towards something that we want to achieve, and the progress law, because when we are working actively in ourselves, in building up this inner man, we are complying with the progress law. And it's there is a joke about these two laws, that we only find progress before work in the dictionary. So the natural flow is work so we can progress. No, not the all the way around. So let's bring first of all the references that we have sourced for this, researched for this talk today. So we have the Gospel According to Spiritism, first of all, and the Spirit's Book by Allan Kardec, the Sublime Prayer of St. Francis of Assisi, and the Emotional Health by Alírio Cerqueira Filho, the lecture of Arthur Valadares, Patience and Serenity, and some texts from Emmanuel, psychographed by Francisco Xavier, Appointment Scheduled, Right Direction, He Will Answer. All my translations, all those titles are my translations. And to understand a little bit more about patience, let's start with our initial reflections. So today we will reflect on what is a working home. What is a working hope? What is the importance of faith? What is the connection between patience and peace? And what does the gospel teach us about patience? Those are some initial reflections, some of the main reflections that we are going to be talking today, but we also bring other important points that depends on how we'll touch our hearts. We can keep searching in the references that I brought to find more, to learn more. All right, so without further ado, let's start with patience is. According to Emmanuel, patience is the art of knowing how to wait with hope. So the art of knowing how to wait with hope. How can we have hope? How can we have this patience if we don't know? If we don't have any hope? If we don't have what to hope? What does nurture? What does motivate our hope, our wait? So let's get this example. When a farmer sows the seeds, he knows that after a certain time he will get the plantation, he will get the crops, the grains will sprout. He knows that. He understands the process. He knows exactly which kind of seeds he is sowing. So he has this understanding. So he knows how to wait. He will wait until this process starting coming out of the ground. The same a gardener, when he plants some flowers, he knows which kind of flowers he will get. If it's yellow, if it's blue, which kind of flower. So And that is the point. We will wait with hope if we have a very important element, which is faith. As Kardec says in the Gospel according to Spiritism, chapter 19, he says that faith is the mother of hope and charity. So how we can have this hope if we don't have faith? But it's not that faith that we are going to be sitting and waiting, but that faith that we know, we understand life. And that's what he says here. Faith, which is real and sincere, needs to be real and sincere, is always calm. It permits patience, which allow us to wait, because having its foundation in intelligence and the understanding of life, it is certain of reaching the objective it aspires to. So here we have the answer. So if we have that rational faith that the Spiritism invites us to have, to study, to understand, to investigate, to understand the life, to have this understanding about life. When we have this rational faith, when we really, with a sincere action, sincere wish, we starting asking questions and search for these answers, we start feeling in our hearts how beautiful, how lovely are the laws, are the divine laws. And then we are starting, and understanding this process will help us to have this hope. As the farmer, as the gardener, they have that faith that the plants, the sprouts will come out of the ground, because they know the process. So that's the invitation for us, is to cultivate this faith, this rational faith, this unshakable faith, to have a solid foundation in order to have hope. Otherwise, what we're going to be hoping if we don't have this understanding of life? And Joanna de Angelis says that everything may not be fine, but it's all right. That is the sense of trust in God, the confidence that even though things are not the way that I wish they would be, but they are right. They are all right the way they are. And then we are invited to understand these three processes: universal laws, changings, and choice. Universal laws. They are the laws that harmonize the universe. They are God's law. They granted the balance and the peace in the universe, as well inside of us, because the laws can be found in our conscience, as the question 621 tells us. So what we can do regarding universal laws, if they are placed by God to grant or to guarantee the balance of the universe, that means that they are not be able to change. They are unchangeable. If we start looking for more answers, if we're starting to investigate those laws, as the question 619 says that we should do, because that what God give or all the instruments for us knowing how his laws work, it's inside of our conscience. We can understand how they work, and then we can understand the changes in our lives. Because the laws, the divine laws, or everything in our lives, everything in the world is in movement. We are moving all the time. I am not the same person that I was 5 minutes ago. You are not the same person 5 minutes ago. The water of the Bow River that is passing by here is nearby here. It's not the same water that is passing right now. That water that was passing 1 minute ago has gone. So it's a new water that is coming. So every time things are moving. So it's a movement, it's active. So we cannot change that too. But we have choices. So we have things that we cannot change, which is the universal laws. We have the changes in life that will come every time, that will always be around us. We always be there inviting us to change with the changes, to make choices. And it depends on us which choices we are going to make. So we can evaluate the situation that we are passing through, and we can choose to rebel, and then we are going to feel frustration, we're going to feel anxiety, we're going to feel depressed, because there are some situations that we cannot change. Or we can surrender ourselves and evaluate our feelings towards that situation. Which invitations am I receiving to change my point of view? How can I see this point of view? So the fact will not change. The fact is the fact, but I can change my point of view of the fact. How can I see this situation? Each of us has its unique way to see. Our unique way to see a situation that we are passing through. But we have the choice, how can I see this situation? How I can see this as only as something that is bad in my life, or can I see this as an invitation to learn? And so we don't have a big problems that sometimes we enter in this situation where we want to have this control. When we don't accept things, when we don't change our points of view of something that we cannot change, we enter in this illusion of having control of circumstances, like the circumstance that we are passing through now, the pandemic circumstance. Can we change this circumstance that we are living right now? What we can do in order to change the circumstance? The only thing that we can do is change ourselves. So I'm gonna take care of myself, I'm gonna be cautious with myself and my family members, my friends, to not, carry on the virus towards anybody. I'm gonna try to comply with the restrictions that the government is asking me, to try to avoid crowd people, or all the restrictions that we are having right now. Like, I'm here by myself and could have everybody here with me, but we need to respect the restrictions, so there's nothing that I can control here. We can also think that we can control time and people. Like the text of Emmanuel, the time will pass by 60 minutes by 60 minutes. There is nothing that we can do to stop it. And we have this illusion sometimes that we can control people. I cannot control what you think. I cannot control your behavior. I can control myself. I can control my inner thoughts. I can have a better behavior, so with my example, I can help you to become a better person. Or maybe it's the contrary. You, with your behavior, with a good behavior, showing patience, you can show me how to be more patient. So it's an illusion of control when we try to control these three things. When we are pursuing these situations of illusion of control, don't accept the universal laws or the life the way it is and people the way it is, we feel conflicted. We feel these negative feelings. So we are not going to be able to have patience and hope or faith. So with these 2 points in mind, we are going to be able to enhance our faith, to build it up, our unshakable faith day by day. And it's always good to recall this graphic brought to us by Spiritist, where we have God, the immortal spirits, and the divine laws. So, the question that we always ask is, can we change God? Can we change the divine laws? Like I said before, the universal laws. Can we change the law of reincarnation, the law of cause-effect, the gravity law? Probably not. Probably you're going to understand that's not. Hopefully, you understand that you cannot change God or the divine laws. I understand that. So, what I'm going to do? I'm going to surrender myself and act in myself, because I am the only one. I am the only person that I can change. The only thing between these two that I can change is myself. But why should I surrender to God and the divine laws? Why should I accept what the life is bringing to me, what God is permitting, is allowing to happen in my life? Because as in the question 614, the natural laws, which is God's laws, it alone ensures the happiness of the human beings. So, if I surrender myself and act in myself to comply with His laws, I will be happy. And this is not good. This is not the objective. This is not. It is not enough for me to pursue this objective, trying to comply with the God's law, developing the virtues, so I will be able to be happy. And what Jesus says to us about patience. In the chapter 9, Blessed are the meek and the peacemakers, you're going to find this text from this friendly spirit, the Spirit's instructions from this text, that which is right to the point. And he says, be patient, because this is also a charity. Everyone should practice the law of charity, as taught by Christ, who is God's envoy. So here is another invitation to comply with the divine laws. And the law that this friend is reminding us to comply with is the law of charity. For those that have seen my talk on Monday, the beginning of the month about charity. There is no salvation. Without charity, there is no salvation. We talked a lot about this law, which is the law that Jesus performed or complied with, exemplified all the time that he was with us. And Kardec, he brings us exactly how Jesus, how to understand charity as Jesus understood it, as Jesus exemplified this law. And he says, and the Spirit says, that we should, how Jesus understood this law is through benevolence towards all, indulgence for the imperfections of others, and forgiveness of offenses. So that's how we practice the law of charity. This is how we can comply with this law, through the virtues of benevolence, which is act of good, to have an act of good towards all. That means that I am included. All means everybody and myself. Indulgence for the imperfections of others. And here we should understand indulgence as understanding of others' imperfections, as well my understanding of my imperfections. Some will think that indulgence is self-gratification. That's not the meaning here. The meaning is understanding that my neighbor has its own perfections or imperfections, but possibilities to be perfect as well as I. So, and the forgiveness of offenses, because when I understand that I am in this level of learning process, so I am able to commit mistakes, I will commit mistakes as well my brother and my sister, so I will be able to forgive them and to forgive myself. And then I will be practicing the law of charity as this friend, this benevolent spirit says to us to do. And then charity, he goes on. Charity given to the poor in the form of handouts is the easiest of all. However, there is another kind of charity which is much more laborious, and so consequently offers higher merit. That is to forgive all those placed in our pathway by God to act as instruments for our suffering and to test our patience. So sometimes we think that charity is only about to give hands out, or to get together with an organization, a non-profit organization, and do good for others. This is a very important part of charity, but the most important one is the work in ourselves, is to be able to forgive, to practice the patience towards those that are placed by God in our lives. Because nothing is by chance, that everybody that's in our pathway should be there. Because of the law of society, we are all together, not only in the city, in our work, but in our family, which is the smallest example of a society, where we should be practicing all the virtues. And the basic one, the foundation of all the virtues, as I said, is the patience. And to test our patience, we need to understand that we are here for learning. And every time that we have a challenge in life, it's an opportunity to remember that we are here to learn, to be better. And Emmanuel says that patience is also working hope. So he advises that receive obstacles for working opportunities and trials for teachings. So we should see those situations, those obstacles that we have in life. Sometimes it's a working opportunity. It's an opportunity to learn, to measure the virtues that I have already nurtured in myself, or those ones that I don't have yet, and I'm invited to start developing. So wait for the best in life, offering life the best you can. So then I will be able to, if I change my point of view and start looking all the situations that I have, that has been tough for me as an opportunity of learning, I was starting to surrender myself to that opportunity, to do my best to tackle that problem, to understand, to have a better understanding about that problem. And then the life will give the best to me, because this is the law of cause and effect, the law of exchange that Emmanuel, you're going to talk about it soon. And the faithful, like I said, the example of the farmer here, the faithful farmer waits the harvest, taking care of the plantation. So he takes care, he does his duty, and then the plant will come, the harvest will come. The house is built from the foundation, but to be completed, it requires activity and efforts to finish. Don't be irritated. So here Emmanuel advises us to have this self-control, to not be irritated, to understand that everything starts from the basics. We started from the beginning. The wise man had started with the beginning of the school, started learning the ABC, to put all the words together. So the same as us, it's slowly but surely. Those who work can count on time. So if I do my best, if I'm making efforts, if I'm working, I can count that the time will bring me the solution that I am expecting. If the crisis comes at the time you are consecrating, the time that you are dedicating, the time that you are making efforts to yourself, ask God not only bless your ongoing accomplishment, not just bless the situation that I'm going through, but also the necessary strength so that you know how to understand and serve. To strengthen my faith so I understand. I can have that strength that helped me to have hope, to have a better understanding, and to keep working, to keep serving. And what more patience is? Patience is understanding patience in the manner of science of peace. Do not seek peace from a distance, since it resides in yourself. Sometimes we think that we're going to find peace in a certain place or in a certain circumstance. I will have peace when I be in so-and-so place with so-and-so person. But peace can only be found in ourselves. St. Francis of Assisi, he teaches us in his prayer, the Sublime Prayer, in his Sublime Prayer about the 3 stages of pacification. And because patience leads to pacification, to have this peace in ourselves. The first is peacemaking, which means that I can see myself as apprentice of life, as an apprentice, in knowing that my master is Jesus. I appeal to Him to pacify my own heart through learning and through the self-improvement. And then, with this in mind, when I understand this in my mind and in my soul that I am apprentice of life, I became more available to use Jesus' lessons, Master's lessons, as a parameter to follow, as a model. And then I will gradually having this autonomy, because I will be actively working to internalize all these virtues, all these lessons in myself, in my life. And then I'll be able to say, for by giving you receive, and by forgiving you're going to be forgiven. And Emmanuel, in the text Right Direction, he says that peace is based on the law of exchange that maintains the balance of the universe through the binomial give and take. Sow the seed of peace in order that you may harvest it. How can I have peace if I don't build inside myself first? How can I have a plantation of corns if I don't sow the seeds of corns? When it's not possible for you to provide the security of the environment, if I'm not able to do anything in order to improve the environment where I am, mentalize the peace through word and thought. Mentalize the peace through words and thoughts. We always can do something. If you cannot be there to help someone that we love and we want to do something to help, if we cannot do that, at least we can pray. And this is the most great instrument for our self-improvement. And so, we, during this journey of building, of understanding, of enhance our faith, our patience, to making efforts towards to bring this peace, to develop this pacification in ourselves, we can start observing ourselves. We can start studying ourselves. This is how we can transform our vicissitudes, as Allan Kardec says, into virtues. So Emmanuel, from the same book, Right Direction, he says, to observe each of us facing our own behavior in human relationships and within family members. And that's the point. Where we are normally, where we are ourselves, where we cannot use any kind of mask, we cannot pretend 100% of time, is within our family members. And then Emmanuel says, let us proclaim and teach as much as we can the merits of patience. So I'm here proclaiming, trying to learn, trying to teach about the merits of patience. However, let us examine our own reactions of intimate experiences in front of those who share our daily struggles. So, and the tasks of each day, and let us sincerely ask ourselves, with authenticity, with real wish to know, if we are being patient with them and with all the other companions of humanity, as we are incessantly tolerated and supported by the patience of God. This is so profound. This is so important. To remember that God has been so patient with us, that God is always patient with us. So let's observe ourselves Let's see how we are pursuing the development of this virtue. And patience is not something that we can do today and do only next week. It's a way of life, of living. It's a way of living. It's a way how we act in a normal day with everybody that is like Emmanuel says here, that is incessantly around us, mailing our family members. And another text from Emmanuel. We will see from He Will Answer some advices for us during the tough moments in our lives. Emmanuel says, no one escapes the peaks of struggle, which differ for each one of us according to the objectives that we seek in the conquest of the spirit. So each of us has its own struggles in life, because each of us has its own virtue that we are mostly required to develop. So each of us has its own ways to develop, because we are unique. So we built our own road towards God. And then he says, one lies tormented by temptations, another suffers abandonment, other weeps for loss, and yet another laments the disappointments of his own fail. So here I am having these torments of temptations. Here is him that is suffering abandon. Here is the other brother that is disappointed of his own acts. Each of us, we all live in this planet of trials and expiations. So we are going to be facing lots of problems and struggles in our lives. And then Emmanuel says, if you have reached a moment like this, if I am passing through for a moment like that, obscured by clouds of tears, lean on patience. Lean on patience. Listen to faith. Take counsel with reflections and meditate with serenity, but do not seek the opinion of discouragement. So wonderful advice. Try to use all the instruments that we have. Prayer, the essential prayer, asking God to give us strength to see, to understand, to keep serving. The serenity, to know that everything is temporarily. As Chico Xavier used to say, this will also pass. That everything passes. Everything is not the same after 1 minute. We are changing. We are having changings all the time. So we have instruments of prayer, meditation, uplifting reading. Keep serving. Keep waiting. Keep loving. Keep working. As Paul has listened to from Abigail and Stephen, when he was weeping, when he was crying, that he was having so much troubles in the beginning of his journey as an apostle. Abigail said those 4 words to him: love, wait, forgive, and work. And we should have these 4 verbs in our mind, in our hearts all the time too, when we are passing through moments like that. And not only our moments, it's not only in our lives, the crises and the difficulties of the world. Emmanuel says that indeed the world is a state of continuous renovation. Everything is moving, so as ourselves. And in times of essential transformations, it's comprehensible that the earth looks like a house under renovation. It's like when we are doing some renovations in our home. We are invited to see how that after that renovation, because during the renovations everything a mess. So the world right now looks like a mess, but it's because it's passing through renovations. We are going to be there like in a regenerate world. We are walking towards this destiny. So whatever you are, make yourself such a point of serenity and help. So if we have this knowledge, let's to make some efforts to see the positive side of everything, to change our point of view. That the world is in painful conflicts as a gigantic boiling kettle for the purification of human values. Is more than reasonable, it is necessary, because that's the process of learning that we still need. However, above all, it is important to consider that we must be, regardless of our imperfections, a point of light in the darkness in which the inspiration of the Lord can shine. Let's be the instrument of peace, whatever we are, with all the imperfections that we still have. Let's try to play our role, to do our part, to be the best instrument for God that we can be. So I'm running out of time, and I'm gonna jump some slides here. Oh, actually I don't need to. Let's come back here. So and then when we have this in mind, that we are invited to be the best that we can do, the best that we can be in order to serve, to be a good instrument for God, we understand that divine paternity is love and justice for all creatures. We are all together in this planet to make our best, to change ourselves, changing the planet. When the troubles of the world overwhelmed your soul, do not open your heart to impatience, for it is capable of running your confidence. When we give room to impatience, we lose confidence right away. We lose the control of ourselves, which is the only one that we can control. How many have missed the best opportunities of reincarnation only because they have embraced despair? So don't give hands, don't give space for despair, for irritation. Look for the advices from the meditation, from the prayer, from God. Don't give room for impatience. And surely, above any misfortunes and failures, because we have misfortunes and failures in our lives, we would know how to place the light of hope with the privilege of work, without moving away from patience at any time. So keep pursuing this peace, keep pursuing this the virtues to be better, even though we have failures, even though we have struggles. We are all apprentices. We are going to have these tough times in our lives, but we are invited to keep working, to keep making efforts in order to place the light of hope very high, to illuminate ourselves, to illuminate everywhere around us, and be happy because we have the existence, this existence which is a bless, to keep working, to keep enhance our patience, our faith, our hope, even though all the struggles that we are facing right now. And that's it. And I thank you everybody for your patience. See, hi Mo. So good to see you here, Moa. Thank you very much for joining us. Let's see if there's any questions, anything on Facebook. No, and nothing in YouTube as well. Well, so thank you very much, everyone. And let's finish our talking today with our final prayer. So, Master Jesus, thank you very much for this opportunity of learning, for this opportunity to talk about your gospel, to seek inside ourselves the faith, the hope that bring us the patience to keep working in ourselves to make us better instruments for your love. May Lord, give us your light of encouragement day by day. So even though we fell, we keep walking, we raise up and we keep walking and we keep searching for your light, because we are gonna fall, but we don't need to stagnate in the falling. We can raise up, we can stand up, and we keep falling with patience, surely but steadily. Thank you very much for being with us. Thank you all the spiritual friends that are here with us. That God bless you all, your family, your Sunday, and your days in your new week. Thank you very much. So be it. Have a good Sunday, everyone. Thank you again for joining us.